Hey guys, we're back. It's been a couple weeks. We've taken a little of a summer break, but we're excited to be back. We got a lot to talk about today. Majority of what we're discussing as we record on August 5th is the Premier League predictions. It's going to be a juicy episode. But before we do that, we're going to discuss the United States women's national team who are going to face Germany in the Olympics. It's very exciting. Things have looked really well under Emma Hayes so far. Before we even get into that, though, guys, how are we doing? It's been a minute.
You needed that break.
Yeah.
Yes, we need to recharge the batteries.
Just like every other
on
footballer.
topics is running dry. So
Yeah, very true.
I don't like talking about transfer rumors from Spanish newspapers that are 35% accurate 24 hours in a day. So we just gotta be patient, just like every other supporter, every other fan. And hey, we're a week away almost from the Super Cup. So that, for me, that's the beginning of the season in my eyes. So that's, we're almost there. We're almost there.
Can't wait for that. Real Atalanta.
you better win that.
Oh, it's
Should win.
Mbappe's first match.
I hope.
I think he'll play.
Should.
Yeah.
We'll see.
He'll play.
Yeah. It's a good time to be back. That break though was definitely needed because unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on who you talk to, the sport never stops, especially in a summer like this. So, let's dive right into the U.S. versus Germany. So the U.S. beat Japan in the previous round in extra time. Trinity Rodman scored an extra time goal. Germany is a team that beat Canada. And these teams actually faced off in the group stages. The U.S. won 4-1 pretty handily. 2 goals for Sophia Smith, 1 for Trinity Rodman, and 1 for Lynn Williams. So I would say they're the favorites. I think that's deserved. But guys, how are you feeling about this match from a U.S. perspective?
Emma Ball. Oh, I love Emma Hayes. They're scoring again. They're acting like the U.S. again. They needed a gritty win. I think that helps their psyche, their mentality. And against Japan, an old foe, it was like I was watching the 2015 Women's World Cup all over again. It was much needed. They're playing well. Man, I don't have a lot to say because they've impressed me. They've impressed me all over the board. The growth from the younger players like Trinity Rodman and Sophia Smith, who are beginning to finish in the final third, something that they were, allergic to in the past. They're beginning to do it in this big tournament. So they're looking like the U.S. of old. And now I was a little worried because I saw Megan Rapinoe the other day in the stands. I'm like, oh no, is this team cursed now? This was against Japan. I was like, is this a curse? And they pushed through. So I have all the faith in the world in the U.S. They'll squash Germany, and they'll be whoever they face next. It'll be a bloodbath. I'm fully expecting domination from the U.S. This is their revenge tour. Simone Biles had hers. U.S. Women's National Team, ultimate revenge tour.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Andrew said. I think that the Emma Hayes effect is in full effect, and it's pretty remarkable to see someone. I mean, remember, she really hasn't been there that long. She didn't really get to actually be coaching the team till I don't know
June.
what month, June,
Yeah.
and it's been
really
slow. Yeah, but the proof is in the pudding that something's working, and I think the biggest thing that I've been taking away is the fact that most of the 11 remains the same every game. There's not a lot, maybe in the formation there's changes, but not a lot of chopping and changing. It seems like she knows who the anchors of the team are, and she's sticking with them. There's not a lot of should I play? Like, a lot of the legacy people are off the team, and I think that's helped because they don't have to wrestle with, I want to play her, but is it best for the team that I do? She doesn't have to worry about that because, Rapinoe, Alex Morgan, Kelly O'Hara, Julie Ertz, all people like Becky Sauerbrunn, they're all gone. So the youth has really taken over. And I think one of the things that I've noticed is Mallory Swanson was dearly missed in the World Cup, and she's showing why now. Seems like we have a legit front three where we kept worrying about who's the striker, who's going to play the 9. She, I think, has answered those questions in a big way. And anything less than the gold medal is not good enough, in my opinion. I don't care. New coach, I don't care. Win the gold medal.
Ricardo?
I do think Germany's going to be tough. Sorry, lastly, I do think Germany's going to be tough because even though they beat them up pretty good the first time, I don't think it's going to be as easy of a game this time around. But I fully expect them to win.
Yeah, I was literally going to say the same thing off of Germany, at least. Like they're not going to make this easy. I mean, they're definitely going to take some of that punishment they took and try and adjust it, because I mean it's definitely going to be harder this time around for the U.S. to demolish them like they did in the group stage. But I still, much like you guys have said, this should be domination from the U.S. And I mean, are we doing score predictions? Because I have one. Like, should I just throw it out there?
Yeah,
please.
All right, I'll say 2-1. The U.S. wins.
I'm going 3-1.
Okay.
U.S.
Just so I don't pick the same thing as Ricardo.
Here we go again.
1-0 U.S.
U.S. scores a late goal to make it 2-0.
Now I'll say this: if they match up with Spain in the final and they beat Spain, I'm gonna say it. We're back.
I knew that's what you're gonna.
We're back.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a team with mentality. The way they came back against Colombia.
Who's left?
Sorry, Andrew.
What other teams are left for them to play?
Germany's on the other side, or Germany's their matchup in the semifinal. On the other side, it's Spain and it's Brazil, who are missing Marta for a second game.
Yeah, but isn't she like? I know she's a legend, but how old is she now?
I think over the age of 40 now, right?
Is she? That was 39. Maybe she is.
I know she's a legend, but
Yeah,
Marta's,
I mean that was the upset.
Marta's 38.
Okay.
38. Okay.
So wait, England's not in?
England didn't qualify for the tournament.
Really?
No.
That surprises me, especially after the great World Cup that they had. Yeah. That really surprises me. And that would have been great if we had Emma Hayes going up against England with a lot of players that she's probably coached at Chelsea. But obviously that's not going to happen.
Remember, fewer teams qualify for the Olympics, too.
Yes,
that is true.
It was what? It was a really weird format. It was 4 teams in 3 groups, right? Just 12.
Yep.
Yeah, I believe
just
so.
An odd format, but I don't know. That's a discussion for another day. I will say, Sam Coffey getting a game of rest through suspension kind of works out in their favor now, because I think she's a much better fit as a number 6 in front of Rose Lavelle and Lindsay Horan. So, not a lot of changing. A lot of legs are going to be tired, you would think, after, 4 games in a row for a lot of these players, 90 minutes plus. I think at least having her, get a couple days is going to be beneficial. I think the one thing to watch out for is Emily Fox, who came off injured against Japan. How do they fill that position? I think it's probably going to be Casey Krieger. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. Probably going to fill in at right back. But yeah, I think
maybe Sonnet.
Well, the problem is Sonnet's playing as a left center back because of Tierna Davidson's injury. So it's not a deep squad. And she hasn't really gone to the bench either. So I guess the only concern would be just, a lack of energy. But I think after a win like that, with the way Trinity scored, I think that's just going to give this team a boost. So yeah, I think it's going to be a good win for them. Again, I agree. I think gold at this point, given the way they've played, it would be a disappointment if they get anything less.
While we were on the topic somewhat too, shout out to that U.S. back line, especially against Japan. Oh my God. Naomi Garima. She's great. She's incredible. Wish there was a center back like that on the men's team. But she's been great. Sonnet's been great. Crystal Dunn has played well as a fullback. It's all around good performances.
I still think
Corbin Albert in her first tournament.
I still don't think Alyssa Nair gets the credit that she deserves.
Alyssa Nair has been great.
I don't think that we have valued her enough for her contributions. I think she's right up there with the best that we've had. I really
especially coming after the mess of Hope Solo and
super consistent.
Yep.
So it's an exciting time for the U.S. because Emma Hayes has quickly transformed this team's mentality more than anything else to me. It was weak in the World Cup. There was a lot of problems going on. It wasn't just the players. I think it was just across the board. But, the U.S. are in a good spot going into this Olympic semifinal. And, we'll be excited to watch that one. So make sure you tune in because it's going to be a good match. But, I think the bulk of this episode is about to get underway. The Premier League season is very, very close to starting. It feels like it's been 2 weeks. It doesn't feel that long. I think we should start with the bottom three before we get into everything else, the top six awards. So, Andrew, I'll start with you. From 20 to 18, who do you have dropping back to the championship?
Oh, this is my dream. Number 20. Nottingham Forest. Those frauds are finally going to get relegated. I can't wait for the day in late May when they get relegated. Oh, it's going to be a beautiful sight. Sorry, Ariel Holani, one of my favorites. But I can't wait for those frauds to get relegated. They've ruined Gio Reyna. This is my revenge. Matt Turner has become a shell of himself. He's seen ghosts because of Forest. God. So screw them. I can't wait for them to get relegated. 19, Southampton. I'm sorry, but you used to employ Matt Crocker, so you're relegated. 18, Ipswich Town, which is sad for me to put in because actually I would love Ipswich Town to stay. But I'll just quickly say, I know you guys are like, Brentford. You guys, I know you guys want to put Brentford so badly, and I can't wait for you guys to say Brentford. I think they're going to be, in that 15 to 16 area. I don't think they're getting relegated. I actually think the next closest team is probably Wolves. Because I think it's going to be. I think Gary O'Neill's gonna play himself a little too much. So I worry about Wolves, and I was worried preseason last year about Wolves. So I don't know, the way they play with the players they have, little scary. But they're going to end up with probably like a shocking win against Man U, and then
it's not going to be that shocking.
They're going to beat like Arsenal and then like lose to Forest. But
I can guarantee you that they will beat Chelsea at least once this year.
But they'll stay up. But you guys, whoever wants to go next,
Ricardo.
Oh, okay. So my bottom three, so number 20, Ipswich Town. I mean, it's kind of similar to me as the whole Sheffield United thing. They came up, and I didn't know. I only knew a few other players. So that's my logic with that. And also, they haven't done very much in this transfer window. So I think they're just going to finish dead last. 19, Forest. I'm also, finally, this is the season that it's over for them, that they go back down.
Our long national nightmare will be over.
They've been flirting with it for a bit now, so I think it's finally time that it comes crashing and burning. And I'll also say this: my prediction is Nuno's the first manager out this season.
Music's my ears.
Not a fan of Papa Smurf, Andrew?
No.
18. I'm gonna go with Southampton. I just think that their squad is like they have experienced players, but I just don't think they have enough quality. And I would have put Brentford here, but I actually have them finishing just above Southampton. But it's going to be close, I think.
All right, I'll go. 20th, Nottingham Forest.
Goodness.
I know, what a shocker.
The hate.
I just no. This is actually what's funny is I actually think that they have really decent players that I like, but they just don't know how to win at all. I think but yeah. 19th, Southampton. I just feel like anyone who I think is on their team isn't anymore. So I can't think of who. I don't even know. I hardly know who's actually on their team anymore. He's at Southampton.
It's
now?
A cool story, but in terms
of what's cool, he's the player manager. I mean, is that what? I mean, him helping out a team in a real way is those days are long over.
Yeah.
And 18th Brentford. That Thomas fraud is going to be exposed finally. Ivan Toney was not that good last year. I know he missed a lot of time, but I don't know. It's a little bold. I don't think it's that bold. I don't think Brentford are not very good. They're just not. They don't really spend a lot of money. If one guy goes down, they suffer in a big way. If like any of their half decent players get hurt, it always ends up having a big effect on them. And of course, this is not a relegation team. I put Everton at 17th, right where they belong, because they will never die and they will always find a way to eke out of the relegation battle by the time the year's over, because that's what they are now.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Last season at Goodison too. So.
Oh yeah. No chance.
I don't think
they
so.
get relegated.
If it was going to happen, it would have happened 2 years ago when they were in trouble on the final
or
day.
Last year when they lost like 50 points.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point.
What a player.
All right. So in 20th, I have Southampton. I just don't know if they have enough goals in them to even, compete to stay. It's Adam Armstrong's going to be probably the guy that has to do most of that. He was good in the championship last year, but just doesn't really move the needle for me. This one's a surprise, I guess, because I thought maybe someone else would put them in there. I have Leicester in 19th.
No.
Well, here's the problem. The problem is that they're in trouble potentially for a points deduction, which I don't believe is sorted yet. So that was kind of my logic. But yeah, I'm really not that, it's not a great squad to me. Maybe I'm seeing something that you guys aren't, but again, same thing with them. The goals are going to have to come from a 37-year-old Jamie Vardy.
The Vardy part.
And they will.
Never doubt Jamie Vardy, by the way. Never doubt Jamie Vardy.
All right. I mean, sure, we can do that. I respect the player, but not at that age. Patson Daka wasn't really that good the year before. I just think the squad is nowhere near as good as the one that was last in the Premier League. What is it? I'm saying in terms of their signings this summer, I mean, it's just I don't really think this is that good of a squad to me. Again, they did really well in the championship. Steve Cooper's there, and his tenure at Nottingham Forest was not really that great. That's to me is.
That's a good point.
But wait, you're telling me you're not excited about Bobby?
I was going to say the Cordova.
Can't even say his name. You're not excited about him?
Exactly. Yeah, that to me, it's just not that great of a squad. I mean,
fine at Leicester.
I'm willing to stand on that.
Well, they had Kalechi, which they still had Kalechi.
Yeah, they released him, so there's another striker that's out the door. I just don't think the squad's that good. I'm also going with Brentford at 18. I I just don't think this squad is in a position to, compete at the levels they did earlier in their Premier League era. If Ivan Toney gets hurt, this team is in huge trouble.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to leave. Again, there is still 3.5 weeks left in the transfer window at the time of recording. So, you can list the amount of teams in the league that need a striker, whether it's Chelsea, Arsenal. They should be in on him if they can't get one of the other big, available strikers, whether it's Osimhen or Gyökeres from Sporting. If he leaves, they're in huge trouble. If he stays and he gets hurt, we're going to see something very similar to last season where they're going to be flirting with it. And I think if you flirt with it 2 years in a row, you're probably going to I think you might be in trouble. So I'm going to have them finishing in a relegation spot.
Okay, Christian.
Oh no!
Explain this to me.
Okay.
You say Leicester's getting relegated because you don't know how they're going to score goals. Have you seen Ipswich Town's roster?
I have.
I think you're forgetting about this amazing young Jamaican man named Omari Hutchinson.
I think he is.
It's one player.
Yeah, but he's really good.
He's not carrying them though. The rest of the team isn't good.
Well, I kind of have him doing that, but yeah.
All right.
And hold on now. I thought Kieran McKenna was the next boy wonder genius manager.
I have more faith in Kieran McKenna than Steve Cooper.
That's a valid.
I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that. Keep that in mind. Steve Cooper is one of the worst. So please, I agree with that. I'm just saying we're talking rosters, scoring goals. I get it. Jamie Vardy's old, but he's been in the Prem. He's won the Prem. He has the veteran leadership. I think they'll be fine. But I love this. I love this very early debate from teams we haven't even seen yet. I love this. I love this.
All right, so yeah, I think
this is our first take.
There's the first one of many this season. Sorry, not sorry, but okay. So let's go through the rest of the bottom half for each of us. So Andrew, 17 to 11.
Okay, so I said 17 and 16 already in Wolves and Brentford. 15 is where I have Leicester. 14 Fulham. I think they're eternally going to be in the 12 to 15 range for the rest of eternity. 13 Palace. Once again, they're going to be in this, weird range.
Oh, okay. No,
I like Palace. I do. But 12. Okay. Bournemouth. The Cherries. 11. Sad state of reality for Brighton. But Brighton will be 11th. 10th, West Ham. 9th, now the most volatile team in the Premier League. They'll either be 17th or they'll be right where I have them, Everton. I think Everton is going to be the shock team of the Prem this year. They'll be in the top half. But I just realized I went beyond.
Andrew got a little excited and went
I got so excited to say that. I can't believe
that. I wish you hadn't said that.
Wow.
I got so excited. I'm sorry.
Okay, Ricardo, you're up.
Oh God. Everton that high is insane.
They're the most volatile team. I will totally see them at 17. I could totally see them at 17. But at their best, they'll be 9th.
That's wow. At their very, very best. They must have the best season, no injuries.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Calvert-Lewin reminds us what he was like 4 years ago.
Yeah, but that's just not. All right, so I already said 17. I said Brentford. Leicester at 16. I have Everton at 15.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just where I feel like they should be. Like they'll probably be fighting for relegation again. And
I agree. I'm telling you, most volatile team. It's like the stock market here.
All right. Who knows? Maybe there'll be another point deduction to them because they seem to get all of them.
Yeah.
And none for cities. I had to
not their fault. Not City's fault.
But no. Who do I have? Okay, okay. Andrew, I'm sorry, but I have Brighton in 14.
That's fine. I'm fully expecting.
I mean, my main reason, Lewis Dunk is still there. So
If
he's still starting, I'm sorry, you guys are going to concede so many goals.
Good.
And hey, and I'll say this too to that point. We've the losses. I don't know if you guys have seen the players Brighton have lost.
Yeah.
Coming
Gross.
to
Yeah.
this.
Losses.
Pascal Gross is a massive loss. I mean, I know we joked about it, but Adam Lallana is gonna be a big loss. He helped with depth. Southampton. I don't know what he's gonna do at Southampton, but that's big for Brighton. But yeah, two key losses in terms of depth. And then I know there have been a few more that Billy Gilmore might be leaving too. That's right. That's the other rumor to Napoli.
Don't they want some?
Oh, that would be amazing.
But yeah, so it's gonna be rough. I'm fully expecting a rough year.
Can't wait for Napoli next year.
All right,
that's for another day.
I was gonna say, yeah. Julio Enciso is also injured, right?
Yeah. Again.
Was that a significant injury or no? Like,
no, I don't believe it's significant.
Okay,
it was a little knack from Copa, I believe.
Okay.
But
what midfielders do they have left?
What midfielders do they have left?
Caicedo's gone. McAllister's gone. Gilmore might be gone. Gross is gone.
Yeah. It's
That's
gonna
a
be
fantastic question.
I'm telling you, it's gonna be like Sully March. It's gonna be like
I have a solution.
they still have the ageless James Milner, who will somehow get playing time. I
have a great solution to this problem.
They're signing from Inter Miami
Diego Gomez.
Diego Gomez.
Yep.
He's a promising youthful midfielder, but I don't think he's going to be that successful. I'm telling you, I'm fully expecting some rough play. Buonanotte might be gone too.
Oh, that's
something else that's been rumored. Yeah, it's gonna be
brutal.
It's gonna be crazy. But Sarmiento might be back up with the team, I believe.
Yeah, he's solid.
So he's been on loan. So he was with Ipswich actually on loan. But I think he'll be a good help. And some youth too. But it's really just wait and see. They signed what's his face, Matt Swiefer.
Oh yeah,
the Dutch from Feyenoord. It's a defensive mid.
That'll help.
So So I mean, it wasn't like they didn't do anything to try to alleviate some midfield help, but some big names like how are you gonna replace Pascal Gross?
I have a solution. Can I interest you?
Oh,
nope.
Let me finish. In Enzo Fernandez for 40 million.
Not for 40 million. Are you kidding me?
That's nothing. With all the money Brighton have from selling
everybody. You're talking about a club whose record signing is 40 million.
Well, there you go. 39.
No.
39.
They're not breaking their bank for Enzo.
No.
Breaking their bank.
They well, for Brighton, yes.
That's their peak.
Yeah. They broke their bank for João Pedro. Deserved.
You don't have any good midfielders. You actually need this person.
I wouldn't say we don't have any good midfielders, but I mean,
what did we?
And also, what you're the guy who screamed and cried wolf when Enzo Fernandez was having his awful year last year.
Yeah.
What makes you think he's going to get 40 million? What makes you think you're going to get 40 million?
Because he's talented.
He just did this. So he's not talented.
He's talented enough.
Okay, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Come on,
I don't want to hear it.
Scaloni loves him. Messi
loves him. You know who I would love? Bring Johnny Soccer to the Prem. Johnny Cardoso. Oh, I think Brighton would be.
That's wonderful.
Why don't you give?
Yeah, I know. And the rumor is 20 to 25. I would so do that. I would so do that. He fits Brighton like a glove. Not the OJ glove, but no, the 14th is very reasonable. To end that tangent.
Ricardo 13 through 11.
Yeah, sorry. Back to the topic. The other reason, going back to Brighton, it's just because they have a new manager. So,
Herzler. I'm a massive Herzler guy.
I know you are.
I love Herzler. He's pumped me up.
It's just first season. It's just always tough for managers. First year manager. So that's kind of also my reason. But 13th, Bournemouth. That seems about to be like the range. Fulham in 12th, also kind of in that range. Wolves, I think, will sort of bounce back from last season and finish 11th. I mean, last year was obviously very disappointing.
Yeah.
It was 14th they finished last season, so definitely below expectations. Especially with a lot of the players they have, they definitely. I think they should bounce back. In 10th, I have West Ham. And also for the reason of Lopetegui first season, their midfield's still very much stacked. I honestly could have put them higher, a spot or two, but I think, I'll get into the team once we get to the later on. But I think there is a slightly better team that I have above.
Jacob?
Alrighty then. Let's see. 17, I already said about City and Everton. 16, I had Bournemouth originally, but that was because I was kind of like figuring out where I needed to put them. I'm going to swap them and Ipswich, who I had at 14. We'll swap them. So 15 is also Leicester City. 13 is Fulham. They'll be Fulham, They'll just be, they'll have games where they'll win 5-0 against some of the, and then they'll lose 5-0 the next week because that's what they do. 12th, Brighton. They were 11th last year with a lot of talent. I thought they were, putrid at the end of the year. I thought they were really weak at the end of the season and just were bad. I know De Zerbi, ego was in the sky. But still, I just was a little worried about Brighton.
Can I quickly interject with one more thing
Please.
I forgot to mention? Injuries. If they are, injuries plagued them last year.
Yeah.
AFCON plagued them. The Asian Cup plagued them.
They weren't ready to.
A lot of factors went against them. Here's to Matoma having a healthier year. Here's to Dingra playing a full season. They still have some pieces up top. It's just that midfield. But go on.
Okay. 11th, Wolves. I think they're going to be better than they were last year. People forget that last year they barely had a manager going into the start the season, and then they had to start against Man United when they still had hope. So I think people kind of forgot that. A lot of people thought that Wolves were going to bottom out because there was so much instability within the club, and they didn't. I think with the full season with Gary O'Neill, I think they're going to be better than they were last year. They tend to play up to competition a lot. They show up for the games against a lot of the big 6 teams. I think they will this year again, and that's why I have them in 11th. And do you want? So I do or don't give you my 10th team.
I think everybody's giving you 10th. So
10 is Crystal Palace. Chris, I don't care that Olise is gone. He's a little overrated anyway. Sorry, he's not a world beater. If he was so good, he'd be in the French team.
Yeah.
I don't think Michael Olise is, reinventing the wheel. I just don't. I'm sorry. But I like their new manager, even though I forgot what his name is, but everybody thinks he's like a genius. And
Glasner.
Man.
They look pretty good at the end of the year.
He threw a good first pitch at the Orioles game the other day.
And they still have decent players. They still have Eze. They still have Mark Gay. Who's had a really good Euro. Yeah. For now, they still have Mark Gay. They still have, other guys that I just like. Lerma. They have quality players, so I think they're worthy of being a top 10 team.
Jefferson Lerma, Colombian.
So in 17th, I have Ipswich. Again, there are definitely some concerns. I completely understand for those who have them getting relegated. I just think they're going to find a way to survive. And again, Kieran McKenna's a manager that's highly regarded. I think even if their squad is worthy of getting relegated, I think he can elevate them enough to just survive. So I have them in 17th. Fulham, for a lot of the same reasons you guys mentioned, 16th. I don't know how good that squad really is. I think Polina leaving is maybe a bigger miss than people will expect.
Yeah.
Although Emil Smith-Rowe is going to be an exciting addition to that squad. I'm interested to see how fit he is for a full season, if he can, play, 34 to 35 games.
I cannot believe they paid that much money for him.
How much was it? It was 30?
44?
40?
Yeah.
In this market, that's kind of reasonable for a younger player who
doesn't play.
Potential. I mean, but I think that's less about, or that's less.
They're banking on potential.
They're buying on potential. And again, before they signed Odegaard, he was a solid player in those weaker Arsenal teams. So at least they've seen it in moments. Everton in 15th. I think they've done solid work this summer. I think Onana's a difficult loss.
Yeah.
But they signed Jake O'Brien from Lyon, who will be a solid partner next to Braithwaite. Again, that's a big piece for them. I think if they can keep Braithwaite, he's one of the better young center backs in the Premier League. I think he's a big player for them. 14th, I have Bournemouth. I sent this morning in chat, Dominic Solanke's being rumored to Tottenham. I think that's a thing, or a striker is what they need. I think Iraola is a good enough coach that even if they lose him, they will stay in the league.
He's like Walmart Unai Emery.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comparison. I think Enes Unal is a solid striker who they got from Getafe, but nowhere near the same level as Solanke. I still think they're good enough around the entire squad to finish mid-table. Given where you guys put this team, I'm going to get killed for it. So here we go. 13th, Nottingham Forest.
It's not that crazy when you consider the talent.
Thank you. I'm glad I didn't get.
It really isn't. No,
I'm not debating you.
I thought I was going to get hammered for that one.
No.
My reasoning for that.
I'm just a hater. I'm hate watching.
They have like the most exuberant squad you can think of. They had 40 players last season. It's dropped significantly. And I think my reasoning is when Nuno had a full preseason with Wolves when they first came up, it was a strong team and the quality's there. No one's going to argue that.
Yeah.
I just think with a full preseason, he had 2, I think 7th place finishes with Wolves. I don't think they're going to get anywhere near that. But when you look at what Callum Hudson-Odoi did last season, Morgan Gibbs-White, Chris Wood, for some reason, continues to be a nightmare for defenses. Anouani is another striker. I mean, I just think this
Anthony Elanga
show. Elanga.
It's good.
I know.
Yeah, I think Forest is quality with a full preseason with the coach, assuming he stays and they don't sack him if they have a tough start. I think this quality will show. That's maybe my bold prediction. 12th, Brighton. I think they could definitely finish lower, but I guess without European football, that does play a role for me. And then being able to just focus on the league. You have the cups as well. I think that will help them finish, in that 10 to 12 range versus maybe 14 to 16. And then I'm finishing off 11th with Wolves. I agree with everyone. I think Jacob and Ricardo both had them that high up.
Yeah.
I think it's a good squad. And they had a lot of things go wrong last season, injuries. I think VAR deducted the most points from them, which they complained about a lot early in the offseason. But the squad's solid. If Pedro Neto can find a way to stay healthy, he's someone that can get 12 assists. Even if he doesn't, he probably still gets close.
Cunha, Mateus Cunha.
Yeah.
By the way, Cunha early prediction gone in January.
Okay.
That would be a year just about, because he came in January, right?
Yep. I think he's gonna have a fire first half, and someone's gonna want him for a good price, and I don't think Wolves will refuse.
That wouldn't surprise me if a buyer comes in January and says we'll give him, 50 million.
Arsenal.
It'll be Bayern.
Or yeah,
I wouldn't be shocked if a club gives
They
gives
love
60.
They love guys from.
I agree. I think 60 actually would be possible, especially if someone's begging for a striker. Because he was at Hertha Berlin, he was at Atletico Madrid, so he's been around. These leagues and these teams are familiar with him. I wouldn't be surprised. And I guess I'll finish off with 10th. I love this Crystal Palace team in terms of what they offer. Glasner did a lot of good work at the back end of the season. Keeping Eze is important, and I think Mateta is going to have a fantastic season. He's doing well with France at the Olympics. He had a really good season, just overall, even before Glasner. I think we're going to see 15-plus league goals from Mateta. I think he's just going to really suit their style. And, you talk about Munoz and what he gave them as a right wing back. I think Guehi will probably go, but I would expect them to sign a center back to replace him, because Guehi was England's best player at the Euros, hands down. So I think even without him, they'll find a way to replace him, and I have him finishing 10th. Yeah, so I say we get right into 9 through 7 probably before we get to top 6.
Yeah. Say so.
Andrew, 9 through 6 or 9 through 7 for you?
Yep. So I already said my 9. I got way too excited. I'm sorry. Everton. They're either going to be 9th or they're going to be 17th. I can't see any other way for this club. I think when you look at this mid-table in the Premier League, you have so many clubs that I think are so equal to each other. There really is no separation. There's no true tier, except if you want to go from 17th to really 15th. I'd say 9 through 14. There's nothing really that stands any club apart. So I think they can freely move. But Everton at 9, I'm feeling something. That's it. I have no real analysis for this. I'm just feeling something of Everton. And then they're going to end up next season being 15th. But 8th, this could be a repeat of last season's table, I believe. Wasn't Man United 8th last season? They're going to be 8th this year. They're going to be without Lenny Oro to start.
God.
Tough scene. They haven't really gotten better compared to last season, really. I do expect a big step from Kobe Mainu, who had a good, solid Euros. And another year older, he'll just make him that much better. So I do have a lot of faith in him. But other than that, this Man U side, unless they get some random, just.
What if they got the lick?
That moves the needle.
They could get Ugarte maybe still.
They honestly really need a warm body.
I don't see Ugarte moving the needle as much as the lick, though. But as much as you hate PSG,
I mean, I was arguing more in favor of Ugarte than De Ligt, but
yeah,
I think there's a bigger need. Probably, you can argue either one.
Yeah,
because the center backs, they are one more injury away from
Casemiro
Johnny Evans.
And Johnny Evans.
Maybe Victor Lindelof. It's scary
Why
times.
is he still there?
And Lisandro Martinez is probably going to miss like 10 games.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a guarantee. That's a guarantee.
And their record without him will be like 3-7-3.
Are they going to go on a crazy draw streak again?
No. Because remember last year they didn't draw. Remember?
So it's going to be the reverse this year.
2024. It was so funny they never drew.
Anytime we would do a prediction for United, it'd be win or loss.
Yeah. Now, I think this could be a bounce back year for Marcus Rashford, but what does that really mean? Will it really help him that much? At least we'll get cool sellies, but I mean that's it. Yeah. I think his aura returns, but the overall Man U aura doesn't return. They're at 8. And then 7th, I see the Villa drop off. I bought Villa last season. I had them 4th. Everyone was shocked. Look what happened. They were 4th.
Yeah.
I love Unai Emery. I love the club of Aston Villa. I do.
They were kind of fraudulent last year.
But I was just going to say, that end of the season was a little shaky. The middle of the year, a little shaky. They had a banger first half of the year. I expect them to go off on a hot start again. But that end of the year, end of the season, I think they're going to fall off a little bit. I have them at 7.
They also don't finish games well.
Yeah.
They had some of the worst in-game splits from half to half of anything in the league.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my 9-7.
Ricardo?
Not going beyond.
So just okay. I guess first.
Oh, by the way, sorry, Villa just lost a friendly against Club America, so I'm just putting that out there too.
We just said it was preseason. Who cares? We're so
kind of contradictory.
I know. I'm just joking around. I'm messing around.
Okay, I'm about to say, dude, no.
Guys, sound the alarms.
They also lost. If we're gonna buy in the preseason, they lost to the Columbus Crew 4-1 as well.
Who
but
cares?
That's what I'm saying.
They only care about the Premier League.
Jacob, contradicting yourself.
No, I'm talking about Villa as far as like when the season starts. They're only
that's the reaction I wanted.
All right. Anyway, going back to my predictions. Before I say anything about those, Mark Yehi is linked to Newcastle. They're asking for 65
I might have to. If that happened, I'd have to move them up.
I might. Okay, so spoiler alert: Crystal Palace is my 9th team, for basically all the reasons that Christian said, and yeah, especially because of how they finished last season. Even without Elise, I still think they're good enough.
Missed a lot of time too,
and yeah, exactly. So it's not like they don't know how to overcome that. They have. They already did. So that's why I have them in 9th. Oh God, 8th. Oh boy. I have Jacob. I have Chelsea in 8th.
I'm not upset.
Quite frankly, they have so many question marks, and also I know you're gonna rant about this eventually, but they're signing a bunch of children. We've gone over this a million.
I know.
Times.
You know they're all gonna get to the training. They're gonna have a school bus because none of them are gonna know how to friggin' drive.
They've literally done nothing to help themselves in the short term other than sign Dewsbury Hall. And I mean,
massive signing, by the way.
Chelsea, it's not that it's going to be ruined.
And then Gallagher also potentially leaving. To
he's gone. He's gone. And by the way, they sold him. And he's gone. And by the way, this is, and I'm just going to give you a preview. They didn't sell him for enough money, folks. You know why? Because they're terrible at doing business. Terrible. Emile Smith Rowe costs more money than Connor, a guy who literally doesn't play, versus a guy who played every minute of every game almost, somehow made more money. But I'll save that for later. Please continue.
Yeah, so 8th, Chelsea. I mean, it's also new manager again. So, round and round we go with these managers. So it's just, I don't see it going all that well. 7th, I have United. For the same reason. I mean, they're already so injury plagued and the season hasn't even started. So it's already very ominous to start.
But the thing is, they always have hope. They usually have hope going into the year. It ends fast, but last year they had some hope going into the year.
Yeah, I mean, they should have more hope because they are at least a little deeper now, but it's still Xerxes. I mean, he's going to have to start now off the bat because Hoyland's injury.
Hoyland's out for 6 weeks, too.
Yeah, hamstring injury. Those are the worst. Those are annoying as hell, but yeah, like it's just the signing. Like if they sign another player or two, I'd probably move them up one at most. Like,
what if they signed Ugarte and Delic?
I'd still only move them up once.
Someone's
It's very possible. I mean, Delic should not want to stay at Bayern.
No, it's every reason to leave.
He has not been wanted by any club in 3 years?
Yeah,
I mean, he went from being one of the greatest young center backs at Ajax to bouncing around in Europe.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like he has to complete the pie chart of playing for a big club in every country. And this would really work out in his favor if he went to Man U.
Just wait for Barca eventually.
Oh yeah, he has to play in Spain. Forgot.
Oh yeah, with Flick. Yeah, he's definitely going to.
No, Flick will be gone by the time they look.
No, he won't. No, he won't.
Yeah, he will. Anyway, yeah. So that's my 3 teams, but yeah, it's whatever. Sorry, United and Chelsea, you guys suck. So
you're right.
There, Jacob. The floor is yours for 9-7.
All right.
Wow,
9.
very excited.
Newcastle.
Damn. Okay.
I know. I was a big believer in them last year. I just don't think they've done a lot of business. There always seems to be something wrong with the inside. I feel like they want to fire Eddie Howe anytime they lose a game, which I think is really stupid. I hope that they don't overreact and fire him early in the year if they get off to a bad start. But something's missing with them. I don't feel good enough about the back line. I think it's really weak. If they got Mark Gahey, I'd definitely want to move them up. And I really like Isak. I don't know. It just, a lot of this is more about, I really like the other teams ahead of them. I think West Ham have had a good summer. I do. I like where they are. I like Lopetegui. I think David Moyes is awful. I think you could tell by the end of the season they couldn't wait to get him the hell out of there. I mean, the players quit. You want proof? Watch them get the game where they got absolutely destroyed by Chelsea 5-0, where they literally quit the minute the whistle was blown. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, Lopetegui's been around a lot, but I don't know. I just think West Ham, they have a lot of good players. Of course, they have James Ward-Prowse, my guy, James Ward-Prowse, who should have made the England team over Conor Gallagher, and I'm sorry, I stand by that. I like what they have going. Jared Bowen is kind of like Walmart Cole Palmer. He had a really good season last year. And they just got Nicholas Füllkrug from Dortmund, which I think is a really good signing because even though I know Antonio will play and start every single game, even though it's not for the betterment of the team, Füllkrug will come off the bench and I think be really good for them.
One of the best super subs in the world.
Exactly. And yeah, I just think West Ham, they're going to be a little better than they were last year. And then 7th, I have Manchester United. I think they'll be a little better than they were last year. Why? I don't really know. I don't understand how they go from almost firing Ten Hag to giving him a contract extension that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And everybody knows that if Gareth Southgate didn't have to worry about the Euros, he'd be in America right now with Man U for preseason training. Because they're obsessed with hiring English people to run everything with their team now. That's all they care about is hiring young Englishmen to run their board and whatnot and make sure they have a new stadium because the only thing Jim Ratcliffe cares about is that they have a new stadium soon because he's worried about flooding and not winning, in my opinion. But I don't, the window's not over. They can still sign players. I think Kobe Mainoo is going to take a big step I don't think Casemiro is going to be nearly as bad as he was last year. I really don't.
Can't be much worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, but remember, he was really good 2 years ago, and that wasn't that long ago. So I think he'll be somewhere in the middle of how bad he was versus how good he is. He'll be something in the middle, and it will be good enough for them going forward. Rashford will be better because he's never good 2 years in a row, which means that he's due for a better year, and then that means next year he'll stink, and then they'll want to sell him again. After they already re-upped him for like the 8th time in a row. He'll have like one time where like he's late. He's late for training. He oversleeps, and then he comes on and wins the game. Whether it's 0-0 against like Southampton, and they win 1-0 on the road. I'm already predicting this, folks. It's gonna happen. Just watch. And yeah, but I don't know. And here's the thing: that is this isn't about the Premier League. They'll win the Carabao Cup probably, and they might win the Europa League because they'll win something with it because Ten Hag wins trophies, however meaningless you may think they are. He does win trophies, and he'll act like it's them winning the Champions League. But hey, that's the standard now. So yeah,
fair. And number 9, I have West Ham. I agree with everything Jacob said. The interesting thing with them is the Paqueta situation. You know, we don't know Jacob's favorite opponent.
So overrated.
I think they're in a position now with the Somerville signing where they could handle that pretty easily, losing him. He's a good player. He's had strong seasons before, but honestly, the way Kudus played last year, I think you could slot him as a 10. You could play Somerville's on the left, and they'll be fine. Lopetegui is a very good manager. Doesn't get a lot of credit for what he's done in Europe, and I just think it's going to have a strong season.
Someone disagrees.
What?
Yeah, I mean,
Ricardo's shaking his head when Christian doesn't give enough credit.
I'll continue, please.
I thought you were talking about me because I'm still so upset Brighton didn't sign Kudus. I'm still so upset about that.
I just think it's not a ridiculously deep squad, but again, they don't have to worry about playing in Europe like some of these other teams we're going to mention that are kind of in this
good point
4 to 9 range. A lot of teams have to worry about playing in an additional competition, one that they might prioritize more than the league. So West Ham, I think, is going to finish 9th. I think they're going to have a strong season. And, yeah, I think Somerville and Kilman and Fulkrug, those are 3 really good signings. I've also gone with Chelsea at 8. Less about them and more about what's in front of them. Again, it's not been a great summer. I think Gallagher is a big miss. I think Shrewsbury Hall is going to have a strong season to kind of replace what he offered. Not exactly the same player, but I think what he offers. He needs to be available for them to really see that. For Chelsea to finish higher than this, I think, and Nkunku's got to stay fit. Again, we talked about this off air. I think anytime Cole Palmer is available, they are in the game. He is already that level of player. But again, that's not going to be something you can rely on for 38 games. And again, they haven't really replaced their leadership of Thiago Silva either. So they're kind of in the same boat with a new manager in Europe too. So he's going to have to balance Conference League. Yeah, I don't know if I could really see Chelsea finishing any higher than maybe 7th. Yeah, which Jacob will give us a rant later.
You'll be surprised to see where I have them finishing.
Okay.
Oh boy.
That's right. He hasn't mentioned them yet, so we'll see where that goes.
Or me neither. I haven't mentioned them.
Yeah. And 7th, I have Newcastle. I was interested in putting them higher, but again, I think the teams above them are really good. Newcastle's going to have a better season. They got killed by injuries last season.
Yeah.
Every single department. Isak was getting.
They were all big injuries. They weren't.
Callum Wilson was hurt. I mean, and don't forget they're going to get Sandro Tonali back.
Don't forget Pope. I mean, that was probably the
Yeah.
biggest
I
injury.
mean,
of the night.
Dubravka was solid.
He was.
Obviously
He was
not the level
really
of
good for a backup.
I think the injuries will not be as big of an issue, and I think they're going to flirt with top 5, but it's going to be very tight in that area. I just think the teams above them are better, in my opinion. But I think Newcastle's going to have a strong season. But yeah, now we're at
Save me last for this, please.
Say it again.
I want to go last.
Okay.
Please let me go last.
All right. So now, Christian, you give your top 6 first.
Okay. I have Aston Villa at 6.
Okay.
I think they've done really good work this summer with Onana, Maatsen. I think I'm missing a few. But I just think their squad is going to be able to handle Champions League better than Newcastle did.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a hot take. I don't know if it is, but I will say Watkins is going to be massive in terms of staying fit because he's going to have to play a lot of games. They didn't replace. Is Duran still there?
Yes,
he's moved yet.
No, he's still there.
I think if they lose him, they need to replace him. I like Cameron Archer. He's a solid young player, but not to handle big games in the Champions League and starting in the Premier League and spot starts. He was okay for Sheffield United, but that's a huge step up from relegation to wanting to compete in the Champions League. So I think competing in the Champions League will slightly alter where they finish in the league. If they didn't have the Champions League, I think I would probably have them in the top 4 again.
Yeah.
I think that's how good their squad is. But for the first time in the Champions League, I think finishing a Europa League place would be where I have them. 4 and 5 was tight for me. I agree with a lot of things you guys said about Manchester United, but until I see Tottenham get a number 9, I'm not putting them in the top 4. So I've gone Tottenham 5. Their business hasn't been great. I mean, Archie Gray is a young player.
It rarely ever is.
Yeah.
Actually, last year it was. But
I think Solanke would move the needle enough for me to put them in 4, though. I will say that because he is an established striker in this league who, maybe didn't get the opportunities he deserved at previous clubs, but at Bournemouth, I mean, he finished top 3 in goals last season. I mean, that's not something to, discredit or not overlook because, there are much better teams in this league, and Bournemouth finished mid-table, and he still scored the amount of goals he did. So that would move the needle for me, but I'm going to stick with Tottenham at 5. I think, until Ange can, kind of change up how he operates in these big games, which might be never.
Not much.
I just think they're going to struggle in top 6 battles against City away, Liverpool away, Arsenal away.
Well, not City, but
yes,
they always,
they always find a way to get a result there. But yeah, I just don't know if Tottenham's done enough to move into the top 4 yet. 4, I've gone with Manchester United. I am concerned about the injuries, but I do think there's going to be a lot of bounce back seasons in the squad. Marcus Rashford, to me, is going to have 20 goals in all comps at least, maybe higher with Europa League. Besides him, I mean, the combination of Højlund and Xerxes should work well. Who starts once both are fit is a great question. I'm fascinated to see how Ten Hag handles that. Sancho's pretty much a new signing. No idea what we're getting from him. Total wild card.
It's like nothing ever happened.
Again?
It's like nothing ever happened.
Yeah. I saw some rumor that Sancho might operate as a number 9. I don't know if that was legitimate or not.
No, God, no.
It is with Højlund. That would be crazy behavior from Ten Hag, in my opinion. But
he'll be a 9 and they'll still win the FA Cup.
Maybe. I think Mason Mount to me feels almost like a new signing just because of how little he played last season.
Yeah.
I don't know where he plays.
The bench.
Again, a very interesting question. I'm kind of talking myself out of 4th just because we don't know what their best 11 is.
I actually think he could be a decent sub, but he's not going to start.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think, again, one more signing at least. Ugarte or De Ligt, they need to get one of them because I think both those areas are still concerning. But kind of banking on the talent overall showing, which is a pretty big risk on my end. But if Rashford's really good and Garnacho takes a step forward, Bruno's going to be Bruno.
Yep.
It should be better. It should be. I could definitely see them finishing lower. That's very possible, especially when they have to balance Europa League. But yeah, I'm going to go with United at 4. Here's my bold spot. I'm going with Arsenal in 3 and not second.
It is bold.
I'm not sold on their striker situation still. Now, again, if they get Osimhen or Gyökeres, I'm blanking on anybody else that's possibly available, Jonathan David maybe, I would consider moving them forward, but it's less about what Arsenal is and more about how I've been watching Slot so far and the way that these players have discussed him and the way he likes to play.
Oh, Jacob. What
I don't know what.
No, I guess so. What? I guess so. Goodbye, Jurgen. We're already moved on, right?
That's not what I thought you were
say
going to
anything
say.
about Klopp.
Well, here's the thing. We're talking about first-year managers. Oh, these teams are going to struggle because of first-year managers with a new club.
I didn't say anything about Marseille.
I said that.
So
I wasn't pushing that
do you have
narrative.
any concerns about Arne Slot?
Of course, there's concerns.
What are they?
It's a manager getting acclimated to a league that's completely different. But it's a squad that's very similar to the one that played last season that was pushing for top 2.
Does it concern you how similar the squad is, though? It's not.
No, not really. I mean,
when you're already elite, I mean.
No, I know, but I mean.
Listen, I mean, Arsenal is a very good team, one that I think could win the league. But I remember one player specifically. Curtis Jones was talking about how he wants to build out of the back. That suits his style better. And he's not the only player in the squad that's going to play better in that system potentially.
Yeah.
There just were players that didn't suit what Klopp wanted. Some of the new signings. I mean, Szoboszlai was great at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And then he fell off. Who's to say that it can't happen this season where he likes what Klopp or what Slot wants to do more than Klopp? It's not
he better.
Totally impossible. I just think that the squad is good enough to be better than Arsenal. If there's a striker change for Arsenal, I think they will finish second. But until I see one, I mean, Gabriel Jesus, Kai Havertz, I mean, does that really scare teams?
It works.
Not for me. So that's why I've gone with Liverpool at 2 and Arsenal at 3. Hot take, absolutely. I completely agree. But I'm banking on the squad being able to, be consistent. It's not like Slot is a manager that's totally unprepared for this. I mean, he did really well at Feyenoord. It's a huge, huge step up, but I do think Slot's going to be good in this position. And of course, Manchester City winning the title again, because who's going to pick against them? If Arsenal couldn't do it last year, with all the breaks they got early in the season, I don't see how. I don't see how they do it. So
perfect ending.
Manchester City squad is very similar. The only real change is Savinho's come in.
Yep.
Of course, as we are recording, Julian Alvarez is potentially going to Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
Doesn't really move it for me.
That'd ruin him. If he goes there.
So yeah, I have Manchester City winning the league comfortably, I would say.
Yeah.
Worst move for his career prospects is going to Atletico.
If he goes there.
If he goes there.
Yeah. He probably will. Whatever.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm waiting for the pin to drop.
I was waiting for
I'm just saying. I'm saying I'm sorry to Julian Alvarez in this.
I know you were gonna say.
I was waiting for like.
I was like, what is Andrew going to say to me about my top 6?
No.
Finishing
It's a fine top 6. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Jacob wants to go last, I think. Correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So Andrew.
All right. So we have similar teams for the most part. 6, I have Spurs. I could see them at 5. I agree on if they get a striker, they're at 4. But at this point, I still do not trust Richarlison. so I got to keep him 6. I do have a lot of faith in Archie Gray, though. I think Archie Gray is going to be a standout young player this season in the Prem. From Leeds United. I have a friend at work who is a massive Leeds fan, and he loved Archie Gray, and he was so upset that they sold him to Spurs out of all clubs. So they've got that going for him. So Spurs 6. 5, Newcastle. I expect a bounce back from last year's disappointment. I think without the Champions League, that will help them a little bit, whereas, as we mentioned with an Aston Villa, that will detract them. So I think Newcastle at 5 makes sense. They still have Isak, which we haven't mentioned, and
Great player.
He's a great player. So there were rumors about him getting sold last season, so that it helps them this season. So they still have him. So 6-5. 4. There's one club I haven't mentioned yet. There's one club. Jacob. I think Chelsea is going to surprise everyone.
I hope
this
is
is my biggest hot take. This is even hotter than the Everton take.
Yeah.
Chelsea at 4
That's
is my surprise of the
I
Premier League.
need reasons.
Okay.
I need them.
Your young players who have played a full year in the Premier League. They ended up 6th. They get another year older
with a much better manager.
We haven't seen Enzo. We haven't seen Enzo in Premier League play yet. You can't say anything about that.
Okay.
Cole Palmer has become one of the best English players.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and he's still only 23 now, right? 22?
Maybe he can win the Young Player of the Year award again. I don't know.
Maybe. It's a U23. I think he takes a big step. I think Enzo Fernandez will be a little better this year. I think for Chelsea for Chelsea to be at 4, Enzo Fernandez has to be way better. So
that's fair.
He needs to be way better. They need more stability in their midfield, especially minus Conor Gallagher. Their midfield needs to be rock solid this season. So there are questions. But I think if Enzo's better, I think Dewsbury Hall is an excellent signing. I wanted him at Brighton.
Andrew was very upset when he did not go to Brighton.
I was almost as upset as I was when they didn't sign Kudus. Almost, not quite.
Well, I hope he's nearly as good.
I think he'll be great at Chelsea. If anything worries me, it's the goalkeeping situation. Robert Sanchez is probably the worst top 8 Premier League starting goalkeeper.
No question about it.
So I have no faith in him, as should no one. So that worries me. But I think, like I said about Everton, at their best, and that's what I'm picking based off of. I'm picking at their best, they'll be 4th. So I got that going. And then top 3, guess what? I agree with Christian.
Wow. Okay. Jeez.
I thought I was way off the mark.
Oh no, I agree. I wanted you to be worried. I just love that. I love the one syllable thing with Liverpool managers now. I love Klopp to slut. I don't want to mess it up and say slop.
You're gonna say flop.
But we got that going for us. So Arsenal, I agree completely with Christian. The striker situation worries me. They need to sign a striker for them to jump Liverpool. But as of this moment, I have Arsenal 3, Liverpool 2. And like I've said ever since the beginning of this podcast, you can
did.
never doubt Manchester City. Never doubt Pep Guardiola, and I will respect them. I respect them. I acknowledge them as our Premier League tribal chief. They are one. They will go back to back to back, three-peat dynasty, and
Is it 5 in a row or
No.
if they win this year, it's 5?
Five.
It's five in a row.
Five.
Yeah,
Five
because
beat,
by
five
2025, Liverpool won in 2020.
You're right.
So, yeah.
You're right. Five time.
Insane.
Wow. Yeah.
So I can't pick against them. So, and I don't think anyone should. I think it's disrespectful if you pick against them.
Ricardo.
All right. Jeez. Can't believe you both are going with Liverpool. I mean Christian, fine. I get it.
Me, it's
Andrew,
not
I was
surprising.
expecting. Yeah, but you,
I'm banking on what I want.
that's
No,
fair.
no.
That's totally valid. Yeah, like I'm not going to argue with that. But Andrew, on the other hand, I don't know.
I thought I was definitely gonna be alone.
Arsenal worries me. They really do. I especially in a year where they, finish second. Arsenal really worries me. Their squad makeup, and I'm still not the biggest Saka guy. I'm still not the biggest Saka guy in the world.
Better.
What's that?
Palmer better.
Palmer is better.
Okay, fine.
I
You can have that.
I don't see it with him. I don't see it.
All right. Well, I guess I'll get to that eventually. But in sixth, I have Newcastle. For the reason of they're not in Europe, so and they definitely fingers crossed for them will be much healthier. As we already talked about, ravaged by them last season. And I mean the other top 5 teams are the 5 teams ahead that I have are all in Europe. So I at least expect Newcastle to bounce back. Eddie Howe, I think, will be fine. And yeah, so that's why I have him in 6th. In 5th, I have Villa, like just a small drop off from last season, specifically because of Champions League. I mean, it's much different, much more challenging playing in Champions League as opposed to Conference League, which they probably could have won, but Olympiacos had other ideas, or it was Olympiacos, right? Yeah, so that was weird, but
disaster.
The way they lost at home was just awful, but I have them in 5th. They still have one of the better, deeper squads in the Prem, so I still think they're capable enough to make a decent run in the Champions League and still finish 5th as well in the Prem. 4th, I have Spurs, and this is me just kind of believing in Ange a little bit too much, maybe. Just the second year, I feel like typically goes better for, most of the players. I think all the players are still there for the most part. So it's another year under the system. So I think that's just my logic, just that they'll get better because they'll have that 1 year under their belt. They definitely need a striker. If Solanke does sign with them, then I think that makes this case.
Please don't let that happen.
that makes the case stronger, I think, for them finishing.
Definitely.
But I wouldn't be shocked if it was 5th or 6th, honestly. But it's one of those 3. But I have them in 4th. And then 3rd, this is where we go back to the debate. Liverpool, it's just, listen, Slot, I'm sure it'll be great. It'll be fine. But I just think Arsenal are a little bit better still, even without the striker. When you think about Arsenal, who obviously have finishing 2nd, because why would I pick against City, just like you guys have said? Martinelli had a down season. They might get Mikel Merino. They might sign him. That's just more depth to this team that's already fairly deep, even though they signed 1 million center backs to play their wide positions, which the City way, I guess. I don't know. But I just think I don't know how they – it would have to be – I don't know. The way I see it, I feel like Arsenal would have to just have a really poor season to finish below Liverpool. Not to say that Liverpool isn't talented, but I just think a lot of things would have to go Liverpool's way, I guess, to finish 2nd. And then obviously City. It's Pep's last year, right, under contract. So if this is it, if this is it, yeah.
It's not. He's gonna fool
It's not it, but I
everybody.
hope it is.
I hope it is
He's
too,
gonna
because I'm
fool
tired of seeing
everybody.
this run.
He'll sign an extension the day before they win the league, and he'll say, I was kidding the whole time. I'm not going anywhere." He even said recently, he's like, "I could extend. I never said I couldn't extend," or something like that.
No, that's true. But I just, it's City, then Arsenal, Liverpool, and then the other three. I mean, could go anyway.
All right, the main event.
Alrighty then. 6, and this is very biased. Tottenham Hotspur.
Of course.
I refuse to be fooled by how good they were in 2023. I refuse, because my club broke them when they went down to 9 players. Everybody got hurt. And I told you all in this podcast that we broke Tottenham, and you laughed it off. And look what happened. They barely made it to 5th. Barely made it to 5th. I know they had a lot of injuries, but Big Eng, or Big Fraud, as I like to call him, went from being the media darling to now thinking that the media hated him. The end of the year, they were literally clinging for dear life. They couldn't wait for the season to be over. And I know they have a lot of good players, and I agree, if they signed Solanke, I'd be much more nervous. But I just think, don't let them fool you. When the going gets tough, they don't win big games. It's not in their DNA. It's not. They're allergic to trophies. Allergic, folks. 5th, my club, Chelsea. I know what you're thinking. Jacob, you've been so down on Chelsea. How could you have them being better than they were the year before? Here's what I'm going to say. They will be worse, but they will finish better. That's what I think might happen. They will be worse, but they will find a way to finish better. That's my point. And I'll get to them a little later. I'll wrap around these, but I'll get to them a little later, because I have a lot to say, as you would expect. 4th, Aston Villa. They will get 4th again. Everybody will talk about how amazing Unai Emery is. He's overrated. They will. This is what's going to happen. They're going to bow out of the Champions League, which is what he wants. And then they're going to go to the Europa League and win the Europa League. That's what's going to happen. You can book it now. He is
couldn't even win Conference League.
He's the Europa League merchant.
I don't think that rule is in place anymore.
What?
Where
It's
third,
not?
because it's the new format.
Oh
Yeah.
Damn it. Damn it. I had it all figured out.
Sorry, parade.
I will say this.
Your parade.
I don't, losing Douglas Luiz, I think, is a big loss. But they did get Amadou. Don't call him Andre Onana. I say that because there was a clip of someone calling him Andre, and he went from speaking French to talking like he had a Cockney accent, an English accent. It was hilarious. It was during the Euros. He said, "Don't call me. My name's not Andre, bruv." It was so funny. But they'll find a way. They'll find a way. Liverpool 3rd. Listen, I know Slot is really smart. I get it. But it's a lot of the same squad. And is this going to be the year where Darwin Nunez is going to be a better finisher? Maybe. He definitely got better from the year before, but that's a massive if. And if it's more the same, I still think they're going to be in 3rd. It's not that I don't like Liverpool. I think Liverpool have a great squad. I'm just worried about a new manager when he has to have really big games. How's he going to deal with them? Fire needs one thing. Liverpool's a completely different animal. It's not the same universe, in my opinion, as far as pressure is concerned. So there's that. Arsenal, they will be in the lead for most of the year. They might have a 10-point lead. And then they will have draws. And then they lose 2-1 to Wolves at home. It will happen, folks. Don't fight it. It's what they do. And I only can hope and pray that they have I want them to have the exact same year they had last year. where they finish second and win 0 trophies. Now that would be pure bliss. Regardless of what happens to Chelsea, if Arsenal can win 0 trophies again, that would make my year. And of course, Man City won because until they don't win the Premier League, I'm not going to say that they won't. Until they don't win the Premier League, I am going to pick them to win the Premier League because they are the best team in the world. Well, maybe after Real Madrid, but
yep. Glad.
They're right there.
Good job.
They're right there to being the best team in the world.
We beat them.
You did. And hopefully UEFA will not ruin the UCL elite the final 8 again like they did last year, where we have we're gonna have Aston Villa get to play Hoffenheim, or I don't know. Anyway, but back to my team.
Might be the next US manager.
Back to my team, Chelsea. Now Andrew wanted to wax poetic and give me this alternate reality, even though it's only one spot better than I have them here. And I hope Andrew's right, folks. I hope that and again, I'll take 5th because it's technically an improvement, but I hope they're even better. I hope that I am so wrong about this team that they're way better than I think. Oh, I would love to say, Enzo Maresca, you were right and I was wrong about everything. But you know what? That hasn't happened yet. You know what I see? This guy, this genius who barely got Leicester City to win the championship with a loaded squad for the championship, barely. And now he's somehow good enough to manage Chelsea because he had cups of coffee with Pep, and he plays possession-based football.
Wait. Sorry. Cups of coffee of Pep is a big deal. Joe Mazzulla had a cup of coffee of Pep and won the NBA title, even though he's one of the bottom 5 coaches in the league.
Beside the point. And look, I hope he's as good or almost good as a lot of the Italian managers that Chelsea have had. Carlo Ancelotti, Maurizio Sarri, Antonio Conte. Maybe it's the good luck. I don't know. I hope it is. But until now, and before the show, folks, I was mad about how they've looked in the preseason, which is not good. But I hear, Jacob, it's the preseason. The games don't matter. It's just about, getting under your feet and, getting a feel for the game. Well, you know why it matters, folks? It matters when they play a full 11 of first-team players and they're down 4-0 against Manchester City. That matters when they have guys like McAtee and people that I have never heard of and aren't going to play for City this year. They want me to go have to sit through Robert Sanchez again, folks. I don't want to do it. Don't make me sit through this again. It's like being it's like being in torture as a soccer fan. And this is what I keep hearing, Enzo Maresca plays possession-based football and they want to play out from the back. Here's my question. Who cares about playing out from the back if you're not winning? How about where's that stat? The winning. You want a stat, Enzo Maresca? Because he's like, I watched all the games, but I've been busy, watching all the games, getting feel for the players. That's what he said when he was first interviewed. Well, here's a stat, pal. Here's a stat. In the 23 games with Jordi Petrovic in goal, Chelsea were 13-5-5. With Robert Sanchez, they were 7-4-7. You want to know those winning percentages? 57 for Petrovic, 39 for Robert Sanchez. But you know what? No, I want to go back to that. Why is this so hard? What happened? I have a question. What happened to the most important part of a goalkeeper being stopping shots? Because that's how you win. I don't care if he can kick the ball to the other goal. I really don't care. And again, another problem that I have, Marc Cucurella is not there. He goes, wow, what am I going to do at left back? Levi Colwell, of course, we have to watch it again, even though we know it doesn't work. Malagusto, who's a right back, is playing left back. And when they ask him, why aren't you playing, Ben Chilwell? You know what his response was? We don't have a position for him. You what? Don't have a position for him? Excuse me, pal. Why did we sell Ian Maatson to Villa? Why? Why did we let Lewis Hall go to Newcastle? Why? If you're so, but no, don't you dare tell me that we're going to see Caleb Wiley this year. Don't you dare.
I think he's going alone, but
he's going to Strasbourg. That's already been.
Because I want again, Ben Chilwell is not that great. He's definitely lost form in recent years, but here's the problem. He's a left back. And first of all, based on the way Enzo Maresca cares about defending, I'd have in this whole inverted left back thing, Ben Chilwell is better with the ball. His problem is defending. So if you're so worried about on the ball, off the ball, on the ball, off the ball, that's how he starts and ends every freaking answer to every question. Well, I have no idea why this guy can't be playing right now. And again, it's the freaking preseason friendlies. He's playing Reece James more than 45 minutes. Does he know nothing about his injury history? I mean, and Conor Gallagher, look, I know I've been very tough on Conor Gallagher, and I'm not going to apologize for almost anything I've said about Conor Gallagher because I stand by most of it. But here's the problem, folks. How in the hell did he only cost 40-something million? When West Ham a year ago, they said, we'll give you 50 million. Chelsea said, no. So let me explain to me how you have an asset who actually goes from not playing a lot to playing more, has a pretty good year, and somehow he's worth less money. Well, what business operation is that acceptable? I would love to be a fly on the wall for these meetings. Who the hell runs these board meetings when they go on a whiteboard and they go, hey, let's sign Omari Kellyman. How many games did he play this year? I don't know, 2. Bingo! Let's go get him from Villa. I mean, what in the hell are they thinking? And Andrew mentioned Enzo Fernandez. You know what I know about Enzo Fernandez? That they were 5-0 at the end of the year when he didn't play. That's what I know about Enzo Fernandez. 5-0 when he didn't play at the end of the year when they managed to get 6 without him in the team. That's what I know about Enzo Fernandez. And I will say this. Romeo Lavia, please stay healthy, has been pretty good in the preseason. I want him playing a lot, especially if we sold Gallagher. I want him playing a lot of minutes over N0 Fernandez. And they got Man City to play the first week of the season because, of course, we have to get Man City. We can't get some crappy team like United or all these other teams. No. We have to get Man City to start the year. I am concerned. When I think about my feelings towards this team, Jim Harbaugh says that the coach of the Chargers says that, you have to attack every day with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. But when I think of Chelsea, they give me a rage unknown to mankind. And you know what? I hope I'm wrong about all of it. I hope that they prove me wrong and they actually know what they're doing. I would be ecstatic if that was the case. But I'm sick and tired of this crap. What happened to my team? Why? It didn't have to be this way. And I spent enough time. That's enough.
We're back in season form with Jake.
Oh yeah,
we're
back,
fun.
Baby.
All right. Well, before we go, we're gonna quickly run through our awards, our predictions for everything you can imagine in the Premier League. Since Andrew has to go, Andrew, you'll start.
Yeah, I'm gonna run through these. Player of the season, Golden Boot are the same. I think last year was a down year for this man. I think he rebounds. And by the way, a down year where he's still like, where he's still
the funniest thing ever. A down year, he scored 27 goals.
Yeah, he still had an excellent year. Even though he missed some free headers and easy tap-ins. Erling Haaland will be back. I have full faith. Even though if 27 goals wasn't enough for you, I think he's gonna have. When people talk about Tom Brady 35 touchdown years, I think we're gonna talk about Erling Haaland 35 goal seasons. I think I'm telling you, Ricardo's crossing his eyes.
I know it's happening, yeah.
But it's so happening. It's so happening. Golden Glove, Emi Martinez of Villa. I think it's world class, underappreciated still somehow, I think. And is coming off maybe some disagreement there. And it's coming off a good Copa. So Emi Martinez. Most assists, Cole Palmer. I think he was second last season. He had 11. Behind Ollie Watkins was first, I believe. But Cole Palmer, I think as he gets even better, which it's crazy. This guy has like limitless potential in my view. I think he's going to score a lot for Chelsea, and I think he'll have a lot of goal involvements too of assists. So he'll lead the league in assists. Young player of the year, I'm going to go Kobe Mainu. I think he was only 18 last year. People forget. He was only 18 when he was playing for Man U and getting all those minutes. He's 19 now. He'll get even better. He's coming off a good Euro. I think Kobe Mainu and Man U will need him. They will need him to play well, and I think he will. As one of the few young bright spots on that team, which is funny to think about with Man U as well. Manager of the year. Jacob, you want to take a guess?
Well, you have Everton in 9th, so Sean Dyche.
Enzo Maresca. N0 Maresca.
Oh, you just called him N0.
Yeah, he's going to prove you wrong.
I hope so.
He's going to prove you wrong.
I hope.
Build from the back.
Your lips to God's ears, my friend.
Enzo Maresca. I think if Chelsea finishes 4th for first time coming into the club, I think this would be easy choice for manager of the year. Sean Dyche. If Everton ends up 9th, if they somehow get James Rodriguez back, oh baby,
not gonna matter because Carlo's not gonna be there to.
I know.
Sean Dyche's gonna play him as a.
James working under Sean Dyche is oof.
It's pure terrorism. It's pure terrorism.
He's gonna play him as a 6.
It's a weapon of mass. It's a weapon of mass destruction. James playing.
He's gonna have him doing only defensive work. Hey, protect the back line.
The worst defending midfielder in the world, James Rodriguez, play as a quality 6 under Sean Dyche. No, but Enzo Maresca, I think if Chelsea finishes 4th, easy choice for manager of the year. Now, if Liverpool can win the league, Arne Slot.
No,
that's a big ask. Big ask. But if
that happens, he's a lock to win.
He's a lock, absolute lock. But anyways, that's that. I have to get going, get running to work. It's great talk, great predictions. I can't wait to hear your award predictions, folks.
Take care, Andrew. All right, let's finish this thing off. Ricardo.
Oh God, these awards feel almost a bit unnecessary because I feel like every single year I predict the same exact people to get them because most of them are I feel like City heavy. Yep. But with that being said, Golden Boot, Haaland. Is that really a question? No. Golden Glove, David Raya. Again, the back line for Arsenal is,
ridiculous.
The best in the league. Yeah. They allowed the fewest goals last season. They were just a brick wall. So, Raya again. Player of the season, I'm actually not going to pick Haaland. I'm going to say De Bruyne. I think he actually stays healthy at least most of the season. And is he in his final year of the contract? I can't remember. Maybe not, but he is linked with Saudi, so potentially
I'd be shocked if he went there.
This could be the last dance for him as well. Most assists, Cole Palmer. Dude's just a goal contributing machine. I mean, I had one season and with England off the bench. So what more do I need to say about that? Young player of the year, also same as Andrew, Mainu, because I mean, there are plenty of young players across the board, but it's really hard for me to not pick him because he was so good last season. And Cole Palmer, yeah, sure, he still might qualify for it, but I think, yeah, like Andrew said, Manu does take another step forward for United. And then manager of the year, I'm going to go Borang and go Pep because you know what? I'm just going to say it's going to be his last season. I hope it is, and I just hope he rides off with every Premier League award.
What if he went back to Barca?
That would not happen. I think he takes.
What if he did? What if he did?
I'd be annoyed.
Wouldn't you be more mad if he went to Barca than if he left City?
Well, yeah, like
yeah, definitely. Barca.
I don't think he would go back. He's already. If anything, I think
he's not going back.
It wouldn't jump ship off a flick after one, unless this season goes awful.
Yeah, like it'd have to go completely off the rails for them. But I feel like Pep would take a year off, sort of similar to Klopp, because he's been doing this for God, how many years? I don't even know.
Too many.
Yeah. So, and what the other reason I think he will leave is because what more is there to do? Like he's done,
especially after he won the Champions League.
Yeah, like he's done literally everything for this club. So, yeah, I don't know why he'd want to keep going. The new challenge is more like what it feels like he needs. Maybe the national team eventually.
The challenge of him staying is if he wants to surpass Sir Alex Ferguson. To me, that's the last. If he wants personal ambition, that's the last thing I can think of.
Yeah, that's fair. That is true. That's true. But yeah, those are. Did I miss any awards? I think that's all of them.
Yeah. Did you get Young Player of the Year?
Yeah, I said Mainu.
Okay. Jacob.
Alrighty then. Golden Boot, Erling Haaland. He's the best striker in the league.
Yep.
This isn't very hard to do. I know it's boring, but it's the truth. Golden Glove, David Raya. Don't worry, Ricardo. I think we run out of the same predictions after this.
Yeah.
I think David Raya was really good in the Premier League games last year. I thought he definitely made Arteta probably feel validated after it was kind of an unpopular thing to kick Ramsdale to the curb essentially and go with Raya, but I think he was definitely justified in doing it. Most assists, Martin Odegaard. I think he's a tremendous player. I think he's an elite midfield player, and I think that he kind of makes them tick. And really, it's like their engine. Young Player of the Year. Now this is a bomb. Omari Hutchinson from Ipswich is my Young Player of the Year. If they're gonna not get relegated, it's gonna be because of him, and I think he will turn up. Manager of the Year, Unai Emery, because he will keep Villa in the top 4 again, which I think is a good achievement. And Player of the Year, Rodri. He's the best midfielder in the world. So, yeah, it's that simple. And he's due. He needs to win this damn award. He should. The fact that he wasn't even up for it last year is a disgrace when you consider it was probably his best year of his career. Holding midfielders have won this award before, N'Golo Kante being one of them. He's good enough to win this award. I think he finally will.
Erling Haaland's the easy pick for goals. I'm just going to do something different just to, be different because what else is new? I had Salah written down originally. I think if he has like a great season, it's not going to be like an elite goal scoring one. I think it's going to be very, very balanced. But just to be fun, I'm going with Alexander Isak. It was pretty close last year. I think it was 20 goals. Stayed relatively fit. I think if they're across the board more healthy, I think just finding him more often is going to be possible. And I think, close to 25 goals would be potentially enough. I mean, Haaland would probably have to miss some games for that to be an option, but just to be different, Alexander Isak. A Golden Glove, I agree with both of you. David Raya, best defense in the league, probably the best defense in Europe, just in that aspect. And they got better. Calafiori is just a versatile defender who could play virtually everywhere. And if for whatever reason Gabriel or Saliba has to miss time, he could slot in there. So I think he's going to have, anywhere from probably 15 to 18 clean sheets. I maybe more. It's very possible that they could be one of the better defenses in Premier League history. Manager of the year, going with Pep. Again, it's hard to pick against them if they win the league, unless one of the newer managers finds a way to have an extremely good season, whether it's Chelsea, West Ham, maybe if Crystal Palace gets into Europe, Glasner could be up for it. So I'm gonna go with Pep. Player of the year, I'm going with Erling Haaland. I think even if he doesn't win the Golden Boot, I think he's still gonna have 25 plus goals, probably gonna undeservedly win the award, especially if like Rodri has an unbelievable season, Foden repeats again. I think Haaland's going to get his flowers for scoring the amount of goals he does. Young player of the year, I'm going to go with someone different. I'm going to go with Somerville at West Ham.
Nice.
I think he had a fantastic season last year. I think it was over almost 40 goal involvements for Leeds. Again, it's the championship, so it's hard to really determine how well he's going to do in a much tougher league. But I think for a West Ham team that I have finishing in the top half, I think he's going to be a standout performer. And for playmaker of the year, most assists, KDB. He had 10 last season in 15 starts.
That's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, he was only 3 off of Ollie Watkins. I think if he starts anywhere from 25 to 30 games and stays healthier, I think he's going to have 15 plus assists and win this award. So, yeah, I think that's all for us today. Expect more for us on the U.S., the women's national team at the Olympics. We're going to definitely discuss the other leagues in Europe. I know Ricardo will definitely have a lot to say about Real Madrid. We have plenty to talk about in the Bundesliga and Serie A. So it's going to be an exciting few weeks before we even get started. And then, we got plenty of football to be worried about for the next 8 to 10 months. So we're excited. But yeah, that's all for us today. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Check us out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And as always, if you have any suggestions for future videos, let us know in the comments below. But that's all for us today. See you next time.